Yo, what's up, guys? Let's look at the developer notice for the collab. So far, I think pretty much positive reactions for the collab thus far. But let's look how the developer notice looks like. So we're gonna get this on the 29th of June in Korean language, in Japanese and Chinese. It's notified on the 30th. So I think it's going to be the day reset for Asia on the 30th when this patch hits, which is European time, like 6 p.m. or something like that. That's my estimation by that. Looks pretty cool so far. A lot of people did mention that style does fit very well for Summoners War. We did see them also do collabs with MapleStory and Epic 7. Those are very anime kind of style of games in the first place. So I think they fit very well with that. So this is a little bit about the story. To be honest, I haven't really watched it more than just one episode, so I don't know too much about it. They are gonna go for a third season in October on 2027. Damn, that's late, man. That's, wow, that's quite a while later than I expected. I thought it was coming soon-ish, but okay. So what do we have for characters? Because that's the part I care about. We have the Elf Mage Collector with the insensitive of subtle emotions to herself, Frieren. We got the Mage Fern. We got the excellent warrior Stark. Some people were saying, like, you mispronounced the names. They are supposed to be German. Like, man, this is some anime. How am I supposed to know that this is supposed to be German? Himmel! I forgot German. I don't care, man. Stark! Himmel! Himmel! Yeah, I don't know. I always get the feeling that if I'm supposed to speak German, I have to shout. I don't know what that is. Maybe like old school jokes, but whatever. So we're going to have 4 stars and 5 stars within the collab. Himo is the exclusive 5-star. That's water once again. A little bit odd, but I guess for the character or things, they kind of had to fit that in. What do we have for 5 stars? So Frieren is a full 5-star family. Okay, we have a dark and a fire 4-star on Fern. Stark is going to be... Okay, Ubo is going to be a full 4-star family. We have seen that with Golem. None of them have ever been used known to mankind. Like, we're still waiting for a balance patch where they actually get good. But the 4-star family, if they have, like, some kind of, like, at least, like, a guild speed lead or something where they have something to talk about. But if they don't, I don't really see this whole 4-star shit being... We call them the Golem Scrolls. Now we're going to be calling them the Ubul Scrolls, or whatever it is, umlaut, whatever thing you're supposed to pronounce that with. Did not actually check that. But first, let's look at the units. Himmel. So we have an attack type. We attack the enemy with increasing chance of glancing hit by 50%, and we're dealing proportional damage to the enemy max HP. Sounds kind of PvE-ish already. Increase the defense of all allies for 2 turns, then attack the enemy to decrease their attack power for 2 turns. Proportion to the enemy's max HP. So double max HP scaling kind of feels like we're talking something along the lines of a little bit of a homunculus style in combination with a Sharon kind of style. So I can see this being used for early game accounts in like a super early Giants run or super early Dragons run or anything like that. Nothing too crazy. But then the passive is pretty much a Darien kind of style, if I read that correctly. Decrease the damage that other allies receive by 20% and increase your damage dealt up by 100% to bosses. So definitely, once again, we're talking some PvE mechanics right there. This does not accumulate with other damage reduction effects. So I would say very much a very early game PvE kind of style of unit. It really depends if he has proper damage scaling on the S1 and S2, if he's actually going to be going for fast teams later on. Also, the defense increasing effect, I can't really think of a unit that would PvE-wise help with a defense buff kind of styles, because most of the units, we're not really having PvE defense nukers, unless one of the other units becomes like a defense nuker. I kind of doubt that. So then we have a few units to look at. I was already saying something, and that's just like a funny take. I hope that the Frieren Light, I haven't looked at it just yet, is kind of ass, and the dark one is crazy good just to mess with people. That's just, that is not the original skin. Doesn't matter, that one is better. We're gonna see if that's gonna happen. Also, Light Gojo technically is better than Dark Gojo in current state of the game, but Dark Gojo is still good though, which... I don't like those looks of the Light Gojo. It doesn't make too much sense for the looks, but let's see what we have over here. So first of all of the family is going to have a defense break for 50% and it's going to be 2-turn defense break. That's a lot better than a 1-turn defense break. And I think that this will probably go up to like either 60 or 75. So that's a pretty solid S1 right there. Then we have spell to create field of flowers. Grants immunity to all allies for 1 turn. Shield for 3 turns. Shield is proportional to your HP. Or to your attack power, not HP. 1 turn immunity is always like, if we're talking like 2-3 turn immunity, we're talking, but 1 turn immunity is kind of like, yeah, I don't know. When you successfully, or when you attack during the enemy turns, when you are attacked during enemy turn, offset damage by 25% chance. If you successfully offset, attack all enemies to stun them for 1 turn. Ooh, okay. So we're kind of talking anti-cleave, RNG, bullshit mechanics style of a Manon. Okay. Yeah, is that necessarily good? I feel like that the S2 feels kind of weak on this kit. The passive feels pretty Manon and pretty stupid. That's definitely a thing. So when you are attacked on the enemy's turn. So it's not when you're attacking allies, you have to be attacked. So it's only good against AoE hits where the enemy is like full-on AoE hitting kind of style. Might be good for arena defense, those kind of things. But I wouldn't necessarily claim this very good. But I do claim this very annoying. That's more of a thing. It also, of course, really depends. Like, are you having some like speed leads for arena or that kind of stuff? Good base stats. So we don't really see too much just yet. Then we have Frieren. We have attack the enemy to remove 1 beneficial effect with 50% chance. Increase your attack bar by 30 if all of your skills are on cooldown. Okay, especially if you start teaming up with that. That's not bad. This probably goes up to like 60 or 75-ish. Then we have Zoltrak Bombardment. Okay, attack the enemy 2 times each hit, decrease their attack power for 2 turns with a 50% chance, and block them from receiving beneficial effects with a 50% chance. In addition, increase your attack bar by 15% for each harmful effect granted on the enemy after the attack. So that's a lot of attack bar gain right there. So it's 2 hits. We're gonna go for 2 different kind of debuffs and 15 bar per. So that could be 120 bar if you land everything on everyone. If you add in Despair and Seal, this probably gets up by even more, even if you miss a few things. Okay. However, ally grants reflect harmful effects on the allies for 1 turn. Okay. Wait, all of them? Yeah, all allies for 1 turn. Okay. At the start of your turn. And decrease the damage, decrease the damage of other allies received by 20%. Increase your attack bar by 10% when an ally, including yourself, is attacked. Okay, that's a pretty nasty one. Like if you're playing against dot teams, like this is the point where you're like, I like to amber my enemy. No, I don't like to amber my enemy anymore. That's a pretty nasty one. She seems pretty good. I'm not necessarily sure it's like, I would really use it here or there. Because in the end, attack power decrease and beneficial effect removal or like block beneficial effect thingy. It's not really the craziest of debuffs. Like we're not talking defense break. We're not talking like any proper thing. It's just talking we're gonna take an infinite amount of shit turns. And we're gonna see... you not landing any debuffs, kind of. So, is it necessarily super strong? I do not know. Mr. Stark, Tony Stark himself, did see him land provokes in the preview video, but let's see if it's actually like that. Heavy strike. He is HP type. Do we at least max HP scaling? Yes! At least we're consistent. I like that. Attacks the enemy to deal damage that increases according to your max HP. Afterwards, there is an if there is an ally below 50% HP, go under threat state. Okay. Okay, threat state every time if something is low, not too bad. Attack all enemies to remove 1 beneficial effect with 50% chance and provoke for 1 turn with a 80% chance. Okay. Deals damage according to your max HP. Ooh, so that's an AoE strip into provoke. But the odds are a little bit low. Because this probably goes up to like, well, let's say that they add 20% on both, so it's 70 and 100. By best. Not too bad, but also not too crazy, I would say. It's could be nice, but yeah, strip provoke. Do we have a strip provoke already? I don't think so, but there's probably, well, we have that on single target, like Cigar and stuff, but I don't think there's like a strip provoke. Oh, no, wait, Nora is strip provoke. Would still claim Nora stronger than that, thus far. We haven't read the skill tree yet. Attack the enemy to deal damage proportional to your max HP, in addition equal to 70% of your lost HP. Enemy defeated by this attack cannot be revived by battle. Ooh, are we looking kind of Malong-ish? And an additional 70% equal to your HP lost. Okay, are we trying to do this Tarnisha thing where you drop this unit to 1 HP and then nuke with this? Maybe-ish, and then still trying to provoke and stuff. Maybe-ish. Can see it kind of being used, but also kind of like, how the hell? Real Sidon. Okay. Attacks the enemy to stun with a 30% chance. This is the Net 4 family. Then we have Real Sidon Ambush. It's also interesting to look at, if we're looking at the skill description, or like the skill how they're named. We have Zoltrak and then Zoltrak Bombardment. But also we have Real Sidon and Real Sidon Ambush. Does it therefore mean that they have a specific version of their S2 that is linked to their S1 or something like that? Or is it just like a lack of creativity or something? I don't know. Maybe this is something related that different families have like different styles. I don't know. I've never seen that the skill 1 is mentioned in the skill 2 once again, but sure. Attacks the enemy for stun for 1 turn, leave branding. Okay. When attacking on your turn, attacks the target 2 to 3 more times to decrease defense. I'm not a big fan of 2 to 3. Just make it either 2 or 3. Don't do that RNG nonsense, but sure. But yeah, that could be pretty decent actually for a 4-star. Does kind of depend on like what kind of base stats, what kind of leads, and those kind of things. Okay, our dev team found Stark skills highly impressive. Really? Because you actually put max HP scaling on a max HP scaler in the first time. Okay. Reliable protect for allies. I'm not sure about that skill 1 that much, but we believe Stark Mind in leader protection is okay. I'm not really feeling any of these units really that I'm saying like, yo, this is super strong. I think she could be nasty. She could be very annoying. This thing is kind of like, weird as Molong nuking Rama God with some protection-ish, something. I don't know. And then this thing actually feels pretty decent, but as a 4-star. So we have 4-star specially coming at least, so that might be a thing right there, but sure. In addition, we hope enjoying the first hand in battle. Also keep in mind that most of the time they don't really share the ones that are actually good. So we're gonna go through the moment that this patch hits. I will be live. And I will go through all of the units in-game and then also check out leader skills, speed awakenings, those kind of things. Here's some young thoughts. We're working hard on them to reveal the all attributes, so please look forward to them. Okay, so far, let me know in the comments which one you think is actually pretty strong. I think that she might be pretty decent, but LD5er. They actually showcased 2 LD5, so we are only showcased 2 LD5s and 1 normal net 5. So it doesn't really show too much where we're like, oh, this is really what we're aiming for. This one, however, if this had net 5 base stats, I would be like, yo, that's actually a decent thing to be able to strip. Or no, wait, there's no strip. There is a brand, defense, break, and a stun in 1 skill. And multi-hits. That sounds pretty decent. I thought I saw her AoE in the preview though, but we'll check about that in a second because I thought I saw AoE defense break or something, or AoE stun and defense break in the preview, so I'll have to relook at that. Maybe I saw that wrong, but if we're checking you... Oh, it's the dark one. The dark one is hitting AoE. So this one is actually doing a death break plus a stun, I think it was? Or is that just the death break? No, that's just the death break. Which one is shown over here? So this one is that one right there with the provokes. Yep. I think they actually put different skills in there. No? Okay, this is the light one. That's the one that... that's the attack break and the buff block thingy, which kind of low rates as well, it seems. I'm not sure if these things look that interesting, but sure. Collab, we will get the building, of course. Yep, we always do get these buildings where we get all of these things. Sure thing. Event dungeon, that's probably the typical dungeon that we always do get, where it's are pretty much clearable on the day one account, so nothing too special on these. You get certain upgrades, sure. You get a certain boss. You probably one-shot that boss. We don't really care about the skills. It's just so typical on those things. We do get a Splendid Blessing on those most of the time, which is kind of nice. Then we also have a minigame, Summon Dice. Ooh, are we going to get some Gwent kind of level shit? Because all of the minigames for Collab most of the time are like kind of like, a chore, it's annoying. Except for Gwent. Gwent was kind of fun. Well, for most people. Some people call that a chore as well, but sure. For this Frieren collab, we prepared a minigame where you roll dice to trigger various effects in battle for enemy. We designed the UI, blah, blah, blah. Looks kind of cool, though. Situation unfolds. Okay. We had like the thing which, with like the splitting things in half with the previous collab. At some point, you just looked it up on Reddit and you just completed it automatically that way, but sure. So this is the ready screen, sure thing. First, you choose a monster to play with. 5 monsters have been provided for each week. You will select one of them to play with. Each monster has unique skills that can be used once through per stage. Deciding on the monster, you will go with a strategic point. Dev team chose a Leica, who possesses the following skill. Drain of damage by the next attack. Okay. Kind of funny that for a Leica, you just get Vampire. That's lazy. But sure. Once you decide on your monster, it's time to set up your dices. The dice, someone will be 6-sided with a value 1 to 6. Yep, you will start with 2 sides. Sure. I think it's one of those things you just kind of have to see like one rotation work, and then it's like, that's how it works. Okay, it's just kind of like a dice game, and whatever you dice on, you kind of get as upgrades or something. You can upgrade, okay, first 2 slots, yep. Encourage you to find your own combinations. Okay, I'll, like, to be honest, like, I can start reading all of this, but I think I'll just, like, as I exactly mentioned, I'll just give it a try once it is in-game, and then I'll be like, that's how it works, so, yeah. They're probably not going to be that difficult. I hope it's just going to be more fun than most of these things that we did. And you only need to do 20, and afterwards you just get a bunch of mystical scrolls. Also, for these rewards, they're nothing too crazy. Like, the Frieren scroll is nice, but any of the other things... not really that crazy. Well, that one is nice, but sure. Then we also have, of course, Frieren being put in the Trial of Ascension on the level 50 to probably get you a scroll. Yep. The Rival X thingy. Sure. And then we have the collab period, which is going to run until the 1st of September, which is actually an interesting thing. Because I would have to check which or how long the other collabs were running most of the time. But this collab is very early. I did mention it in prior video as well. This collab is about a month and a half to a month earlier than normally the collab at the end of the year. Does that kind of mean that we're having a shit ton of downtime starting the 1st of September? Because 1st of September, normally what we have in the whole year, if we take the calendar of Summoners War, first we start off with a collab, then we go into the anniversary, then we have a little bit of downtime, or let's say we do collab, little bit of downtime, anniversary, little bit of downtime, collab, and then pretty much end of the little bit of downtime, end of the year, and then repeat starting with a new collab. That's what the big events are related on. But if 1st of September this is gonna run out, either we're gonna have a early collab towards like December-ish, or we're gonna have a pretty long downtime, especially after SWC. Or what they're trying to do is not have these packs overlap with the SWC packs, because the SWC packs also in general sense have some more stuff going in. Also, this is pretty much starting just around SWC. It's mostly September, late August is where SWC goes. But maybe since SWC is a 10th year of SWC kind of style, it could be one of those things that they try to do it bigger with bigger events and that kind of stuff. So I'm not necessarily sure on that. It's just like an estimation, but it's going to be interesting to see what we're going to have after the September 1st, because we're going to have a big downtime until something comes later. So that's what we have all of there. Then we have some event dungeons, subjugation requests, sure thing, and then a bunch of other things. So, and we get a free Devil Mon. Not too bad. Bunch of mystical scrolls. So not too bad in general right there. So overall for the collab, it doesn't really say too much. Minigame looks okay-ish. The units released so far look pretty mid-ish in my opinion, but let me know in the comments what you think about it. Also, we did not really see that many units just yet. Plus, you don't see leader skills, you don't see awakenings, you don't see a whole bunch of stuff. So let's see what they do have in this video. I must say, from all of the collabs, she does feel pretty fitting in the Summoners War universe. And that's also what a bunch of people did mention. These characters are supposed to be way more fitting for the Summoners War universe, mainly because they're more fantasy kind of style of characters, which I would say I agree on.
고유의 매력 요소를 TV 애니메이션 그대로 보존하기 위해 표현에 각별히 신경을 썼습니다. 이런 시각적인 매력과 더불어 프리렌의 강력한 마법 또한 서머너 조어만의 매력으로 즐기실
Okay, Water One, do we see anything on skills?
수 있습니다. 파멸의 번개 주드라질 룸이나
Trying to look at, oh, this looks some kind of new debuff, or it's just, no, that's just probably the animation itself. I did not really see any debuffs fly.
도르잔베르 등 압도적인 마법
Yeah, it seems to be that none of our skill 3s do any debuff, so I guess that all of them are some kind of nuking or stripping kind of style then.
마법을 사용하는 프리렌을 직접 체험해 보실 수 있으니 기대해 주세요.
Or they just turned off the icons for the debuffs, that could also be a thing.
프리렌의 제자 페르는 마족을 죽이는 마법을 매우 능숙하게 다루는 캐릭터입니다. 서머너즈 워에서도 다양한 형태의 마족을 죽이는 마법을 몰아치는 페른의 모습을 그대로 재현하고자 했습니다. 특히 페른의 적용 마법은 달빛에 숨어 쏘는 듯한
Okay, I'm liking that kind of skill. We don't have that shit. Wait, redo that for a second.
했습니다. 특히 페른의 적용 마법은 달빛에 숨어 쏘는 듯한 은밀하면서도 강력한 일격의 느낌을 서머너즈 워 특유의 다이나믹한 카메라 연출로 담아내어 현장감을 살렸습니다. 수많은 마법 탄환이 아레나를 가득 채울 때의 짜릿한 시각적 쾌감을 기대해주세요.
Avengers assemble! Oh wait, wrong collab, sorry.
존이를 맡고 있는 전사 슈타르크는 든든하게 아군을 보호해주기도 하고 거대한 도끼를 휘둘러 큰 피해를 줄 수도 있는 역할로 등장합니다. 특정 조건이 충족되면 1번 스킬로 위협 강화 효과를 얻을 수 있는 캐릭터이기도 합니다. 묵직한 도끼의 중량감은 물론 지면이 파괴되거나 공기가 우리는 충격파 등 화려한 연출들도 놓치지 말고 즐겨주세요. 스타일리시한 전투를 보여주는
Wait, is that a light or dark? Stark on light is a 4-star. So that was an AoE multi-hit death break. That's one that I could find out from that one.
총공의 섬에 등장합니다. 자를 수 있다고 상상하는 것은 무엇이든 자를 수 있는 마법, 레이자이덴부터 금전점까지 다양한 볼거리를 선사하는 캐릭터입니다. 용사 일행의 힘멜은 이번 콜라보의 물속성 배포 캐릭터로 만나보실 수 있습니다. 던전 공략을 좋아하는 힘멜의 성향처럼 PVE 공략에 도움이 되는 딜러 역할을 수행하며 보스와의 전투에서 피해량이 증가하는 특별한 패시브를
Yeah, probably he's some kind of like heavy hitter for giants, dragons, maybe R5. R5 he would actually be pretty good, I guess.
가지고 있습니다. 캐릭터뿐 아니라 힘멜의 모습을 담은 동상 또한
Of course, we got the statue.
이번 콜라보 보상으로 획득하실 수 있으니 놓치지 마세요. 이 모아두기 건물에 프리렌을 배치하면 동상을 청소하는 상호작용도 감상하실 수 있답니다. TV 애니메이션의 매력을 그대로 담아낸 서머너즈 워 속 장송의 프리렌의 5캐릭터로 많은 기대 부탁드립니다.
이번 콜라보 던전은 프리렌과 함께하는 모험 컨셉으로 구성되었습니다. 던전 곳곳을 탐험하며 몬스터와 전투를 벌이고
I must say, I kind of like the art style on how they did it with this.
숨겨진 보물 상자도 직접 발견해보세요. 스테이지를
Yeah, I think that this is also a very memeable anime for the emojis.
클리어할 때마다 마도서를 획득해 스탯을 상승시키거나 특별한 효과를 얻어 캐릭터를 업그레이드하는 재미도 느껴보실 수 있습니다. 던전에 입장하면 마력의 안개가 자욱한 숲과 황폐해진 마을 등 특유의 긴장감이 감도는 환경 속에서 전투를 펼치게 되는데요. 던전을 플레이하다 보면 난이도별로 조리대, 해몬, 레볼테 3명의 보스가 등장합니다. 조리대는 공격을 선풍으로 바꾸는 마법, 메드로주발트
Why is it always that the enemies you're fighting look more badass than the things you're getting in the collab? We had that with the Lord of the Rings collab with the horse rider dude. That one looked freaking badass. We had that with the Hashiras on the Demon Slayer collab, where like the Wind Hashira was way cooler than like the Zenitsu and stuff like that.
를 활용해 날카로운 공격을 가합니다. 방어력 감소와 낙인 약화 효과를 걸고 피해 경감 효과를 무시하는
right.
피해까지
Same.
입히기 때문에 전투가 길어지지 않도록
I want that unit!
유의하세요. 해모는 안개를 활용해 적에게
Okay, maybe not this one. This one looks boring.
약화 효과를 부여하고 일방적으로 유리한 상황에서 전투를 진행합니다. 해몬과의 전투에서는 전장 전체를 감싸는 안개 효과와 그 안에서 광선 마법이 휘어져 들어오는 변칙적인 궤적을 연출해 애니메이션 속 전투를 시각적으로 재현했습니다. 공격 속도
Not bad.
차이에 따라 방어 무시 피해를 입을 수 있으니 공격 속도 감소 약화 효과에 걸리지 않도록 주의하세요. 네 팔과 뱀의 하체를 가진 레볼테는 압도적인 사이즈로 중압감을 선사합니다. 4개의
Badass.
팔과 신기 사두류를 이용해 끊임없이 몰아치는 공격을 퍼부으며 각각의 검기가 공기를 찢으며 날카로운 궤적을 만들어냅니다. 프리렌과 함께 박진감 넘치는 전투가 가득한 콜라보 던전을 공략해보세요.
Intense battles. Wanna bet I can one-shot them?
판타지 속 선술집에서 가볍게 휴식을 취하며 즐길 수 있는 보드게임 컨셉의 미니게임도 준비되어 있습니다. 스테이지마다 등장하는 적을 상대로 주사위를 굴려나온 아이템으로 전투를 진행하는 로그라이크 방식의 게임입니다. 주사위의 랜덤성과 새롭게 등장하는 아이템의 조합이 매번 색다른 플레이 경험을 제공할 예정이니 많은 기대 바랍니다. 이외에도 TV 애니메이션
Seeing this kind of minigame, you know what kind of game they should collab with and then take their minigame? If they collab with Final Fantasy VIII or Final Fantasy VII Remake, and for Final Fantasy VIII, they add in Triple Triad. Very simple card game, but super fun. Or on the other side, if they collab with Final Fantasy VII and they add in Queen's Gambit, yo, for the players that know those kind of minigames, that will be hella fire. That will be Gwent, but better. I'm telling you.
을 기념할 수 있는 다양한 요소들을 만나보실 수 있습니다. 애니메이션 속 왕도의 모습을 담은 컨셉 섬, 흰멜 동상이 세워져 있는 숲속 모아두기 건물, 그리고 콜라보 한정 특별한 형상 변환까지 다양한 즐길거리가 가득한 서머너즈 워와 TV 애니메이션 장송의 프리렌 콜라보레이션, 많은 관심과 플레이 부탁드립니다. 감사합니다.
Overall, I would say collab looks pretty fitting for Summoners War. Is it necessarily going to be a good collab or a bad collab? Is definitely depending on are these units going to be viable or not on release. Otherwise, we gotta wait 2 balance patches, aka 4 months, for them to actually be viable or not, which is always going to be a thing. I do hope if they're viable, they're not Gandalf passive annoying level of bullshit. Like, that's the thing. I would like to have a unit like Wind Legolas being viable. That's a fun unit. That's a good unit. That is something you can work with. But Fire Legolas being a good unit is like, yeah, that's RNG. Gandalf being a good unit, yeah, that's kind of annoying bullshit and passive. I would say for the free-to-play unit, I definitely do think he will be used. More early game accounts than like a late game account probably, but it does depend on his damage output. At least he is attack scaling, so there's no weird shit going on with Heihachi where he is an HP type with attack damage scaling on max HP, blah 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 nonsense, so he doesn't really do his job. This one can probably actually do his job, and you can't just simply ignore this whole part like, oh, you deal less damage on your team. Yeah, okay, but if he does enough enemy damage, can he be interesting already where he replaces your homunculus in Giants? Or maybe in Dragons, well, we kind of have Agrius teams and those kind of things, but I can kind of get his vibe for Giants the most. But maybe one of these units, like I could see Mr. Tony Stark be a defense type scaler somewhere in one of those elements that could actually be, let's say that the Wind one is a defense type scaler and that could actually murder like Giants with like a defense buff or something like that. I gotta think of like maybe a good nuker with a defense buff or anything like that. There's probably something out there, but I could see Hemo being used. Any of the others, I'm not necessarily sold yet. Like, to be honest, from all of those, I feel like that this one, which is also obtainable, looks potentially the most interesting. This one, Gandalf, light Gandalf kind of level annoying, I guess. Plus, like, Manon more. Like, yeah, more a Manon on release annoying kind of style. This one as well takes a shit ton of turns, gives harmful effects, reflect thingy, and that kind of shenanigans. Takes a shit ton of bar herself, decreases damage, but does she really take that many useful turns herself outside of just stacking a Juno and a Aya that much? We gotta figure that out. I would say on the skills though, Burn as 1 is probably one of the strongest reading skills out there, which would mean that one of the other 2 elements might actually be pretty strong on this. Like if there's something else with a passive that actually has a better passive, you use the S2 and then you team up, you get 30 bar on her. So I would say that she has a lot of potential, but maybe on the different elements. So we do have her on a Dark 4, and we do have her on Wind and Water on the 5-star. So it might be possible to be interesting over there, but we shall see. The only weird part is attacker type, and then this S2 is shield proportional to your attack. That's about it. So the only damage output you have is a skill 1. Is a little bit weird. But, well, you also have, like, attacks the enemy and stun them from 1 turn in your passive, but feels a little bit weird, similar to like the Gandalfs where you have the Dark Gandalf still shielding on skill 1 when you're on like damage kind of type of unit. It looks a little bit weirdish, but it's not necessarily light Frieren is the most OP thing out there. Good odds, like I'm gonna call it. Dark Frieren is gonna be the most OP. Well guys, thanks a lot for watching for this one. Let me know in the comments if you're hyped for this collab. I do think that this will be a pretty good collab. So guys, thanks for watching and see you as always in the next one.
Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.